The sitting is resumed.
Revert to papers.
Honourable Member St. Philip West.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, I am commanded to lay the Fiscal Risk Statement 2026. And on behalf of the Minister of Tourism and International Transport, I am commanded to lay annual reports and audited financial statements of the Barbados Port, Inc. for the year ended March 31st, 2024, and the annual reports and audited financial statements of Hotels and Resorts Limited for the year ended March 31st, 2025.
Revert to government business, sir.
Honourable Member for St. Lucie.
Mr. Speaker, let me first begin by stating my extreme gratitude to the wonderful people, the good people of the constituency of St. Lucie for again reposing their confidence in your humble servant to represent their best interests in this honorable house. I do not take this lightly, Mr. Speaker, because we have gone through quite a lot as a constituency. We have had real challenges over the past year or so, till it have come to a point where across this country, from time to time, people have made mock sport at us due to the water situation which we have encountered, which we are still to some extent encountering, but thankfully which this administration is working assiduously to correct that issue. I want to express my thanks on the floor of this House, Mr. Speaker, to the Honourable Prime Minister and to her ministry, the Ministry of Finance, for providing the resources through which we can undertake the massive mains replacement program, which is continuing all over St. Lucie, from east to west, from north to south, central St. Lucie. That mains replacement program is continuing. And I am grateful and I express thanks on the behalf of the people who have sent me here for the third consecutive time. I am truly grateful, and certainly I will do my best to represent them with every sinew, every ounce of blood in my body. I will do my best to represent them because they deserve better. They deserve it. Mr. Speaker, I am thankful as I reviewed this budget and the measures represented in the little time that I had, as I'm the first speaker this morning, and received the report kind of late, but nevertheless, I spent the time going through, noting those measures which will benefit my constituents. I want to echo the sentiments or quote part of the presentation, just a line or two of this presentation made yesterday this evening. And I will replace the word we with I. I have not come to declare victory, but I have come to prove to the people of St. Lucie why they place confidence in me as their representative. This Barbados Labour Party administration has done well in the difficult circumstances that we have faced as a government. In the difficult circumstances thrown at us because of what is happening in the world. In the difficult circumstances, Mr. Speaker, which presented themselves, not our fault, but we do not run away, and we will not run away from what we are faced with. We have stood up and we are standing up to fix the issues and to deal with the issues which have presented themselves. Mr. Speaker, I did not plan to speak in this order in terms of what I'm going to talk about, but I must speak first and express my deep support for the decision of this administration that when a previous Barbados Labour Party administration was bandied and cursed and harassed by the opposition for its decision to build flyovers. That is a decision, Mr. Speaker, which I support this administration in revisiting because it is what has become necessary. We saw the then administration saw down the line, down the road, what could have happened. And Mr. Speaker, I don't know if you experience it, but like you, like we do, we leave home extremely. I left home early this morning to get here, to be on time to do the people's business. And what I encountered this morning, and I've encountered on many mornings in terms of traffic, it is horrendous. And therefore, I would support 1,000% the decision of the government to revisit the building of these flyovers, Mr. Speaker. Traffic backed up from as far back as the entrance to Hamer's Market, right up to the lights at Westmoreland. And you can ask anybody who come in this house who come from the north. Or you can ask any person on the outside on the street what the traffic is like on mornings. I'm sure that those persons coming from places like St. Philip and Christchurch would encounter similar challenges with traffic. We need and we must do something about traffic management. The north has become, which was one of those areas where you could get to and from quite easily on mornings. Mr. Speaker, I'm sure the Honourable Member from St. Andrew will support me in this. It has been a horror story. It is a horror story on mornings. When you're coming from the north, I suppose we're coming from all over Barbados. And do not dare feel or hope that there's an accident along the way. That makes it even worse. So I support this measure by this administration to revisit that particular aspect of traffic management, Mr. Speaker, and certainly when they have the meeting at the Alexandra School, I will be there to lend my voice and to assist in putting together what would be required to really deal, Mr. Speaker, with this situation in terms of traffic management on our roads. We have had situations, Mr. Speaker, where as we move along, even outside of the construction, the massive construction that is going on across this country, which to some extent at some point in time would cause that situation, Mr. Speaker, we need and we will. The consultation will take place, and I know you will get information coming from almost every resident in the north to support the building of these flyovers to enable traffic to flow much more freely than it currently is doing. Mr. Speaker, I want to speak to the budgetary measures brought to this Honourable House yesterday. And one of those measures would be the assistance being given to pensioners. I happen to listen to the call-in program. No, I happen to listen. I usually listen to the call-in program when I'm at home. And every day, Mr. Speaker, every day there is a group of about 2 or 3 persons that would call in. And no matter, Honourable Member for St. Joseph, what the government is doing, or what the government has done to address certain situations in Barbados, it is never enough. And we understand that, Mr. Speaker, we understand that because the more you get, the more you want. That is human nature. Honourable Member for St. Michael East, you would agree with me that that is how people are. But you will always also agree with me that this government, this administration has never run away from the challenges that it faced. We have always stood up and responded and to the people of Barbados. And sometimes I have in my head, I think sometimes, you know, we can't be always necessarily giving the people what they want, because sometimes people look at the narrow picture of things that would affect them. But we as a government have to look at the broader picture as it affects the country, and we have to address it based on that situation. But Mr. Speaker, we have responded in terms of what is happening worldwide. Something unexpected, something which we have no control over in terms of energy costs, Mr. Speaker. But we have responded as a government, and the decision to pay half of the increases for those persons is a decision to be applauded, Mr. Speaker. Persons in Crayville and Avistown and Harmony and Bentham's would welcome that, Mr. Speaker, because we have cushioned the blow. What do you know? Do we really understand what it is that your light bill will go up by $32 more than what it currently is? But it is already high, and people complain, Mr. Speaker. They complain, but that is an external shock which we cannot control. But the government, in its budgetary measures, has taken the decision to accept or to assist with half, $16. So rather than going up by $32, Mr. Speaker, it will be by 16 because the government will pay half of that cost. And that is commendable. That is something which we applaud. That is something which I am grateful for on the behalf of the people of St. Lucie, Mr. Speaker. We move, Mr. Speaker, to the agricultural sector. Now, I had the opportunity for a short 2 years to work in the Ministry of Agriculture along with the Honourable Member for St. Philip South for 2 years. Mr. Speaker, I now have the opportunity to work with the new minister, not in the ministry, but as the representative of one of the largest farming communities in Barbados. They have two, River and Mount Poyer and Spring Hall. And I have spoken to this new minister, who I'm sure is all eager to get in there and get some work done. I have spoken to her, Mr. Speaker, to doing a visit to the farmers in those areas. I myself have visited on more than one occasion to see the conditions and what the farmers have to go through, particularly the farmers in Mount Poyer, who are eager and who are doing their best at great cost, Mr. Speaker, who have several challenges. And one of these challenges, Honourable Member for Christchurch South, one of these challenges is the entrance and exit to their farms, the cart roads. The government had said prior that we would enter into a cart road program in terms of fixing those roads to have proper access for these farmers. I have seen, Mr. Speaker, and I spoke to a farmer, I have seen, Mr. Speaker, where a farmer heading a bag of watermelons, heavy watermelons, walking some distance from where the farm is to the front road to load those watermelons, because when it rains, it is absolutely horrendous. It is absolutely horrendous in terms of transporting their produce. And Mr. Speaker, I will push, and I will push hard, and I will work with them hard to make sure and to urge the Honourable Minister, who I know love a challenge, to be able to correct this issue for the farmers. We talk about the breadbasket of Barbados. Those farmers in St. Lucie are making a tremendous contribution to this country and the food and to reduction of the food import bill. They're making a tremendous contribution, but Mr. Speaker, I think we need some ease. I know they have been given water tanks, but even the water tanks is a good idea, but when you look at it, and I've had hands-on experience, Mr. Speaker. I've gone and I've looked at it with my two eyes, where the pressure coming because of the water coming from the water, the pressure is so low. The pressure is so low that it does not, you have to make additions, you have to purchase something like a pump to push the water pressure to be able to wet those plants that you have. It is extremely difficult, and I expected that we would have done a bit more in terms of agriculture for the farmers. I would, when I speak with the Honourable Minister, I would propose, there are other things that I would propose to her in that conversation. But the farmers at Mount Poyer need additional help. The input can be very costly, but because they love what they do, because they want to help not just their parish, but they want to help Barbados on the whole, they are doing their best and pushing hard. But you know, Mr. Speaker, no one operates or works in a business that is not profitable to them. And I believe to some extent that is why from time to time we have seen people giving up and say they're done with that because of the cost that is incurred from time to time. So, Mr. Speaker, I certainly do hope that coming out of my discussion and conversation with the Honourable Minister, that we will come up with workable tangible solutions, solutions that will benefit the farmers and ultimately benefit Barbados at the end of the day, Mr. Speaker. I also want to comment, Mr. Speaker, on the reduction of the energy costs, the measures taken to reduce the cost of energy for Barbadians and for our constituents. Mr. Speaker, I heard on the call-in program a few days ago where it was stated that the government ain't doing anything for people, ain't doing anything for pensioners, the cost of living going up, and the pensioners ain't getting nothing. And you must agree, Mr. Speaker, that pensioners operate off a fixed income. They operate off a fixed income. Honourable Member, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Honourable Member for St. Peter, they operate off a fixed income. My pensioners and your pensioners, all our pensioners operate off a fixed income. And therefore, when costs go up, they still have the same money to buy the things that have risen. But this government has taken in these budgetary measures to give them, at least, Mr. Speaker, $100. Some people say it's not enough, what it can do, but it is a start. It is a start, and I'm sure, and I want to express gratitude on behalf of those from my constituency to the government for that measure in assisting with that $100, Mr. Speaker. And let me say as well, while I'm at it, Mr. Speaker, we understand that as a country that has no natural resources, these things can challenge us. But we also understand that you do not sit down and fold your hands or cross your feet and say whatever happened, happened. We are entrusted with the management of this country, Mr. Speaker. We are entrusted with dealing with the issues that confront us every single day. And therefore, different issues obviously demand different responses. Last year, at the top of the list, in the scheme of things within my constituency, it was the issue, the vexing issue, Mr. Speaker, of brown water. This government has taken the opportunity and continues to work to alleviate this issue within the constituency of St. Lucie. And for this, we are grateful. What I would ask, however, that at the end of the day, when these men are being replaced, I notice that we have slackened a bit on it. We have slackened a bit on it, Mr. Speaker. And what I would know is that when the men are replaced, that the road is properly reinstated. We have started to do it, Mr. Speaker, and as I drive across the constituency from east to west, because from east to west, men are being replaced, the road is being widened, Mr. Speaker. So that's the benefit that we're getting. But equally, we are getting that benefit, but we are also getting the issue where the roads are not being reinstated, and it is causing damage to vehicles as they traverse the country, the parish, Mr. Speaker, from one area to the next. And I am asking through this, on this floor of the House, that the BWA do a consistent reinstatement of the roads, not one side for a short period of time and then you leave it and all over it, because a lot of work is happening. A lot of work is happening in my constituency, and I'm grateful for it. But equally, I also want that the right things are being done to the people. When you do the work, reinstate the roads. That is all we ask, Mr. Speaker. And I'm sure that the people of St. Lucie will be very happy, and St. Peter too, and St. Peter will speak for. I know that he has mouth for himself, and I know you would hear him large in this honorable chamber at some point in time. But we work together as two parishes of the north. I also heard, Mr. Speaker, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but I also heard in the budget something in relation to swimming pools, one in the south, one in St. Michael, and nothing. I have not heard anything for the north of the country. Pardon? Whole town, and in the south. I ain't hearing nothing past whole town. Well, the north is the top of the country. The north is the head of the country. And I want to sound my voice to represent the north here this morning, that we need to be considered, Honourable Minister. We need to be considered too. Something must happen in the north. I want to also sound my voice, Mr. Speaker, in relation to the further development of Archers Bay. We have had a lovely park over there, and nothing else has happened to it since we opened it. I want to sound my voice in this honorable chamber today that we need the development of Archers Bay, both the park area and the play area where the youngsters gather on the evenings to play football. It cannot just be a pasture or a place with picnic spots. People are complaining. They have complained to me repeatedly. I've spoken to the honorable member for Christchurch West when he was in a position that we need the bathroom facilities at Archers Bay. We need our courts at Archers Bay. We don't just want a nice facility. Everybody said we like down here and all of that. Many people come every Sunday, every weekend, Mr. Speaker. Every weekend. Buses come, churches have picnics. They come, but they always go to King George V Memorial Park. We have a park in St. Lucie that used to be a lovely place many, many years ago when I was a little boy. Well, I'm a man now, and I am charged with the responsibility to get it back and go beyond where it was then. And Mr. Speaker, you're going to hear my voice in this honorable house and elsewhere if proper development is not done for Archers Bay. We have the opportunity now. I believe we have the money now. Let us get to it. Cannot take forever, and I'm not going to leave this house. I'm not going to leave this house without representing until something is done with Archers Bay and the development, the future development of Archers Bay. Honourable Member for St. Michael East. I'm learning from you. It needs to happen, because really and truly, and you're laughing, but I'm dead serious. Really and truly, it is a nice area. The residents have complained all during the campaign. The residents complain. What is happening? Nothing is happening up there. There is benefit for them too, because when persons come into the area, people who are selling their waters, their juices, and so on, the economic benefit for them is that persons will make purchases. But if everybody stops coming, and we have a wasteland over there, that means that there's no money that will be spent. The little small shop in Crab Hill, the small shop in Davistown, or the shop coming across below the Jordan School at Trent, they have nobody to patronize because people have stopped coming. But I am sure the government has it within them. I'm sure the government has the finances. I'm sure the agency responsible, which was previously headed by the honourable member for St. Michael. St. Michael, that is Chris. What's it? St. Michael West. He used to head. He used to be part of that. I'm so upset. I'm even forgetting the members' constituency. But when the honourable member for St. Michael West was in that position, he was pushing for it. And I want to see that same energy from whoever would have taken over from him at BTI or BTII, whichever it is, to get back to that position where development at Archers Bay becomes top of the list of work to be done. Don't think that because it is in St. Lucie that in the back of things. St. Lucie is the top parish, the first parish in Barbados is at the head of Barbados. Without a head, you're dead.
Your Honourable Member has 2 more minutes.
I have 2 more minutes, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I will utilize my two minutes. My two minutes quickly, Mr. Speaker, to give my support to the measures presented yesterday, to urge the government to continue to do what it is doing, the good work that it is doing, but to also remember you have done well. We have had a lot of assistance in St. Lucie through this administration. For when the when Labour leaves, Bajans succeed. But Mr. Speaker, there's yet more work to be done. There's yet more to be done in St. Lucie. There's yet more to be done on the behalf of the constituents of St. Lucie, the constituents and residents of St. Lucie. And while I support these budgetary measures, Mr. Speaker, I will urge the government to continue and to focus, and let's have some more of the pie in St. Lucie. I'm obliged to you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Member St. Michael Northwest.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I rise to give thanks to God and to the good people of St. Michael Northwest for placing their trust and confidence in me and the Barbados Labour Party government. Sir, I wish to echo the words of Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Sir, the key words in Jeremiah 29:11, the words hope and a future, are a perfect example, sir, of what the Barbados Labour Party and the member for Christchurch East Central delivered to the good people of Barbados yesterday during the budgetary proposals 2026 to 2027. They receive hope and a future, Mr. Speaker, sir. I am pleased, sir, to be a part of a government that let actions define who we are as a government and not just talk. I am pleased, sir, to be a part of a government that has the interests and the people of Barbados at heart. Suffice to say that I wholeheartedly support these budgetary proposals 2026 to 2027 because I know that in the new financial year, sir, I can continue to work hard and deliver more services to the good people of St. Michael Northwest. Sir, this government placing a fuel price cap on gasoline and diesel can directly help poor and working class within our society because freight costs affect almost everything, from food prices to bus fare and the cost of doing business. Such a move by this government have several economic and social benefits, especially for the ordinary people and businesses in Barbados. I wish to identify one, immediate relief for households. The 15% reduction per litre for the next 3 months lower the cost of gasoline and diesel. This, sir, directly helps families who rely on their vehicles to get to work, take their children to school, and daily living. Lower fuel costs mean more disposable income, sir, that you'll be able to buy groceries, pay your utilities, and rent. Lower fuel costs, sir. This means that the public transportation operators, taxi drivers, delivery services, and small transport businesses benefit from cheaper fuel costs. Reduce cost of goods. Many goods in Barbados, sir, are transported by trucks. Lower diesel prices reduce freight costs, which can help stabilize price fluctuations of food and other consumer goods. Protection from global fuel price shocks, sir. By capping VAT on fuel, this government shields consumers who will be protected from sudden spikes in international oil prices. This creates price stability during uncertain global conditions, Mr. Speaker, sir. Support for small businesses. Businesses that rely on fuel, such as construction, fishing, agriculture, and delivery services will see lower operating costs. This will help protect jobs, sir, and maintain economic activity. Inflation control. Fuel is a major driver of inflation, and reducing taxes or capping fuel costs can help ease overall inflation pressure across this economy, sir. And it also shows economic confidence. Policies like this is a signal that the government is actively trying to manage the cost of living, which can improve public and business confidence. In simple terms, this policy aims to reduce the cost of living, stabilize fuel prices, support businesses, and protect citizens while global energy prices remain uncertain. Most of all, I can admit that these policies will benefit my beloved constituents. Sir, I can honestly say that my love for my constituents remain unconditional. I know that. And helping seniors manage the rising cost of living is something that I'm very passionate about. And the policy that was put in place, sir, can only become a reality through a government that cares about people. And $100 a month cost of living cash credit gives direct financial support to seniors across Barbados. And this will help them, sir, to pay for essentials such as medication, paying their water bill, sir, their light bill, buying food, and even transportation. And we have so many elderly persons on fixed income, and this extra money can significantly help ease any financial pressure in relation to the seniors across this country. More income is tax-free. Increasing the tax-free allowance from $50,000 to $75,000, sir, means that more pensioners will benefit from not paying taxes, especially those seniors who are still gainfully employed or benefit from other income streams. For example, sir, you know, some elderly people may have properties rented. And you want to know, sir, the real beauty about this policy? It supports seniors without a pension income. Barbadians 67 years or older who receive no pension but receive a non-contributory pension also qualify, which is important because some elderly persons, sir, work in formal jobs. Some elderly persons did not contribute enough to earn a pension but receiving a non-contributory pension or have no retirement savings. This policy will help many elderly persons from falling into poverty during these challenging times. This is a policy, sir, that will help stimulate the local economy. When elderly persons receive extra money, sir, they typically spend it in their communities, whether going to a shop in the community, sir, whether going to a pharmacy in the community, or even to a doctor's office. And it will also be spent on local services. This will circulate money back into the economy and support many small businesses. The overall impact of this policy, sir, improves financial security, dignity, and quality of life for seniors, while also providing targeted economic relief during periods of rising cost of living. Can you imagine, sir, the Democratic Labour Party managing this economy during a time like this? During these times, it really takes a prudent, skillful, and experienced government to govern and lead the way that the Barbados Labour Party leads and manages this economy. This is what the Barbados Labour Party government has done and continues to do for the good people of Barbados. This is a policy, sir, that relates to custom duty reform, changes on how import taxes are calculated. Sir, such a policy, instead of taxing the CIF value, cost, insurance, and freight, this government will now tax the FOB value, cost of goods only. This will lower import taxes, and duties will be calculated on the cost of goods only and not just the shipping costs. Since freight costs have risen globally, removing them from the tax calculation reduces overall taxes. This policy will lower prices for consumers, Mr. Speaker, sir. Construction materials, which, you know, sir, we import a lot of what we consume. So construction materials should become more affordable. We have a lot of people who are trying to acquire their own homes and complete renovations, and this policy will assist in ensuring that homes are built within budget. Renovations or projects that people may be executing can be executed within budget. This policy will also benefit small contractors. It will be able to offer more affordable solutions to their clients. As a result of paying duties on the cost of goods, businesses can pass those savings to customers, hence more affordable basket of goods for household. Importers and small businesses will pay less duty upfront, improving cash flow and making it easier to keep prices competitive. In simple terms, people will not be heavily taxed on high shipping costs, which can help make goods cheaper and make cost of living more manageable. Sir, this policy means that Bajans don't suffer because of external shocks within the global economy. These policies build trust and shows that leadership is proactive and people-focused. I trust, sir, that during the new financial year, I will be able, sir, sitting on the backbench, to get more jobs for my constituents from the various government departments, such as the Ministry of Transport and Works, Barbados Water Authority, NCC, also more jobs in the CV program, the Social Empowerment Agency, National Assistance Board, to mention, the Ministry of Education, which I hold my good friend, from St. James North, to fulfill, and the Ministry of Health and Wellness. I trust that during the new financial year, sir, that my constituents will be able to benefit as well from a refurbished Deacons Development Center, the member of St. John, that is in your hands. More roads, rehabilitation of projects, more housing solutions, sir, to benefit families who are still utilizing pit toilets within my constituency, sir. Sir, I hope that in this financial year, I will be able to build another 10 or 15 houses, and by the end of this term, probably 50 or 55. Because, sir, the need for housing is in great demand. And I know that in the urban community, sir, we have a lot of families who live in substandard conditions, and because of land issues, sometimes the Rural and Urban Development Commission, sir, they are unable to help these families because of the land issues that some of these families may be encountering. And I hope that within this year, sir, that when it relates to land and people who live in urban housing having issues with land, that this government will be able to do more to help rectify those issues so that those families, sir, will be able to benefit from the Rural and Urban Development Commission. Sir, I trust that in the new financial year, that my constituents will benefit significantly in more ways than one. And I wish, sir, to say that there are many projects that were started under my stewardship, and I hope that within this new financial year, sir, that I will be able to install more streetlights across my constituency, sir. I will be able to continue the tree trimming that was started. I will be able to continue the maintenance on a lot of the problematic drainage systems across my constituency, sir. I will be able to continue the maintenance and beautification through the 360-degree program, sir. And I trust, sir, that this financial year will impact the lives of my constituents in meaningful and significant ways, sir. And with those few words, sir, I wish to support these budgetary proposals 2026 to 2027. Thank you, and God bless.
Honourable Member for St. Philip West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, Mr. Speaker, between yesterday and this morning, since the budgetary proposals were done. I have heard from a number of my constituents from St. Philip West, and I want to thank those who have reached out to share their thoughts on this budget. And sir, I want to report that by and large, they were very positive, sir. The people of St. Philip West seem encouraged by this budget. And a couple of them, sir, I must add, came from over by Britain, number 1, where the road, the Carrot Road, has finally started. And they were happy not only about the road, but the budget was also something about which they were happy, sir. And I must say I joined them in being happy. One of the things that was appreciated, sir, was that this budget called for us to look at now, but also to prepare for the future. It was not a short-sighted budget, sir. It looked at the present, and it also called to us to give some consideration to the future and what our part in it must be. You heard the Honourable Member from Christchurch East Central and our Minister of Finance deliver an outstanding budget yesterday. And one of the things that I took away from it is certainly that if war and the warfare that we have now on tariffs and on territory and on trade and on all the political touchiness that is going around, should this continue, we see what is coming down the pipeline. And sir, what would be coming at us if this continues? It is not pretty, either for Barbados or for the rest of the world. But this Barbados Labour Party government, as is true to our nature, we face tough times. And we tend to be forward-looking as to what it is we need to do now in order to make sure that as things progress, we are able to buffer our people. Sir, this budget of 2026, it seeks to make sure that the people of this country who will be impacted, even though we never started wars, and even though we can't stop tariffs, and even though we can't control trade, the people of this country will be impacted, and this budget seeks to make sure that they will not suffer through it by themselves. Sir, cost of living has been a word on the tongue of many, and justifiably so, because you understand, sir, that cost of living does not just affect people out there, it affects all of us in here. When we go to the supermarket, sir, the same price that a pensioner will pay is the same price that someone who is the CEO of a large corporation will pay. When we go to the pump, sir, the cost of fuel, gasoline or diesel, is going to be the same for every single person who goes to purchase. When we go to the doctor, sir, the doctor doesn't charge one price for people from one part of Barbados and another price somewhere else. We all must pay the same price. Thankfully, we have a hospital that will also cater to others who cannot pay the price. But the bottom line is to stay healthy, whether it is the food we eat, whether it's our exercise, to join our gyms, whatever it is, sir. It requires that we pay the same price. All of that to say, therefore, sir, that with all of us facing the same cost of living, this government has sought to make sure that those who would most be affected in a negative way that we provide some types of support. Sir, you would have heard our other colleagues here in this Honourable House speak of the work that this government intends to ensure is done to cap VAT at the pumps, to make sure that we reduce excise taxes on gasoline. Sir, it costs for us to go to work and to go to school. It costs for us to see at nights. And that electricity bill, sir, that allows us to see at nights, the government has agreed to absorb 50% of the fuel adjustment part of that, saving Barbadians close to $15 every month. Sir, it costs to have children. And this budget looks at those who are having multiple births, twins and triplets, to provide a special allowance for them, $300 for twins and $600 for triplets, and for those who are having single children, to ensure that they are able to take the extra time they need to be able to stay at home and care for these children, not only the women, but also the fathers as well. Sir, it costs for persons who are taking care of elderly persons. We have many retired persons taking care of their elderly parents as well. And this budget seeks to ensure that those who are earning up to $75,000, up to the first $75,000 of those persons who are retired pensioners also taking care of others in their household, that $75,000, first $75,000 is completely tax-free, so that now they have more money in their pockets, $25,000 more exempted from tax than they would have had before this budget. It means that while we can't stop the tide of things to come in terms of cost of living and that are already here, we can certainly seek to leave more money in people's pockets where we are not able to give them additional monies. And sir, you will see that for those persons on the welfare, on the social services, welfare, you know, from this month here in March of 2026, the rate went up to 30% more, by 30%. And the intention, as proposed in this budget, is for there to be an additional $1,200 a year on top of that as part of the additional support. Sir, it has often been said by our middle class that we do a lot for those who are working class and a lot for those who are challenged financially, be it temporarily or on a more persistent basis. And for the middle class, this budget also delivers. The budget has ensured that those persons who are bringing in electric cars, that they remain free of certain duties and taxes, reduced in a significant way, not free, but reduced. Let me correct myself. It has ensured, again, they will also benefit from the support that this government is given with regards to offsetting the expense on their electricity bills. For all primary school students, and I am sure that our minister responsible for education will talk about it, this government promised that again, to help families deal with cost of living, we would introduce a program of extend the feeding program. Extend the feeding program from just lunch to include breakfast. And this is no matter what type of income background you come from, all Barbadian children will benefit. Sir, the appropriations bill that just passed is something that I feel very pleased about. I see that there is significant resources that will be put into ensuring that our infrastructure, our road infrastructure, that our infrastructure for water will be, in fact, supported through the additional resources provided. In this budget, I am happy to see that there's support for those persons who want to put in water tanks and septic tanks and other types of tanks in their homes. And this certainly supports the program, the Waterworks program I started in my constituency, where we have put water tanks in over 45 houses, and we have supported over 7 farmers in continuing to ensure that they have irrigation water. The taxes that people will save on these tanks will allow more people to be able to afford better for their homes and for their farms. I am supportive of that. Sir, even with much of the road works that we are expecting to continue through this year, as we would have seen provided for in the estimates of expenditure, I am happy to hear that a part of that effort will be traffic management. This morning, sir, as I came in here early, no less than 6 of my colleagues in here complained about the traffic. It took some people more than an hour and a half to get from parts of St. James and St. Lucie. And sir, I mention this because I left home at 7:26 this morning, and it took me until about minutes after 9 to get here. And I am happy to hear, and I encourage the people of St. Philip, and especially those from St. Philip West, to go to Princess Margaret on March the 25th, because that is where the consultations on traffic, particularly for that area, will be done. You heard yesterday the Minister of Finance in the delivery of the budgetary proposals speak of traffic management being a significant part of the work we will continue to do. And I am happy to hear in these budgetary proposals that consultations, the people who use the roads every day, who are part of the communities where there are traffic jams, that they will be a part of the process of determining how we move forward with traffic. I have heard the complaint from the people in Emerald Park West, who have said that even with a Kentucky coming on the opposite side of Shafet up there, that they're happy for the food, but they understand that that is going to add to the congestion in 6 roads. And so, sir, I am inviting all the constituents of St. Philip West, and indeed of St. Philip, to come out to Princess Margaret on March the 25th. I am also happy to hear, sir, that as it relates to citizen security, that police station is meant to be part of the civic center in 6 roads. It will serve the entire area, of course, but I'm happy to say that it is being situated in St. Philip West. And part of that civic center, sir, where there will not only be the police station, there will also be the magistrate's court, and there will be the fire service, and there will be the post office, and there will be an ambulance bay. And I believe that bringing those services closer to the people of St. Philip is something that we have called for a long time. And on behalf of the people of St. Philip West, I want to say to this Barbados Labour Party, we thank you for the Civic Service Centre. And we see it already starting to go up. Sir, when it also comes to our security, I am pleased to see in this budget that customs duties and VAT on security systems and burglar alarms for the homes will in fact be removed from April 1st. Sir, I am glad to hear in this budget that the GPS devices that will help to track vehicles and cameras on the dashboards will be duty and VAT free as well. Sir, it is important to think what the government will be doing to help us with our own security, but we also have personal responsibility for ensuring that we do what we need to do to take care of our own property and of our own persons. Sir, when we think of budgets, we often think of the numbers. You know, will there be more tax? Will there be less taxes? Will there be more money spent? Will there be less? We think of numbers, sir. But the truth is, this budget does not live unless people participate in making it happen. And this is the point at which I want to shift slightly to the ministry for which I have some responsibility, which is the Ministry of the Public Service. Mr. Speaker, you know that we have a lot of talented people within our public service. Very talented. We have a lot of skilled people within our public service. But the culture of the public service has not always been focused on solving problems. It has been focused on getting the process and the paperwork right, not always on solving problems with urgency and with the finality that is required to make sure that the same problems do not repeat themselves again. It is certainly the intention of this Barbados Labour Party government to continue to work with our public servants to make sure that some of the things put right here in this budget can in fact be executed. We see in this budget there's talk about a beneficial ownership registry that will help to give transparency to who really owns money and who really benefit from the businesses. And that is good for Barbados, because as we create greater transparency and we're more responsible in doing these things, it keeps us off the many lists around the world that will cause Barbados to have a bad reputation. But sir, if we as the public service and as public officers do not make sure that we have put in place the type of team and the type of unit that can administer this properly, this would just be a budgetary proposal, but implementation will not be right. We see in this budget, sir, that as part of trying to improve the system of justice, there are 2 gun courts. There will be 2 gun courts. That's proposed. The Honourable Member for the City will likely speak on that. However, sir, they cannot happen unless we actually set them up properly in the way that takes people, sir. We talk about the fact that there are all these different subsidies or supports or removals of VAT and duty, but these cannot work unless people do what they're supposed to do. We had a survey on the state of digital learning in Barbados. And one of the things that it found is that the problem is not that when it comes to people who are tech savvy and understand the digital world and can implement what needs to be done to improve efficiency and to be more productive, that it was not the people who were being hired that had a deficiency. In fact, the survey showed that Barbados was able to hire, for the most part, whether it's in the private sector or in government, the persons with the requisite skills to be able to work in a workplace powered by digital. The problem was the people already within government and within the private sector, most of whom were at the management and supervisory level, which is where we need to put our effort in terms of developing our talent. And this budget offers 75% from government for those businesses seeking to digitize and to digitalize their processes. This Barbados government, we are getting ready to launch a digital academy for the public service, and I thank the honourable member for St. James South, who would have worked on this before I came to this ministry. The need for us to create opportunities. We have worked also, sir, before I continue, with the National Transformation Initiative, which I must say, has already started to curate courses for leaders in digital learning and others, and they have already done it specific to 5 ministries. They will continue to build out the curated content for digital learning for the rest of government. I say all this to say, sir, that no matter how encouraged we are by the budget, unless we as homeowners go out and get those cameras to help protect our property, unless the farmers go out and do what they need to do in terms of ensuring they can benefit from the measures in here for those who are using natural fertilizers, unless the churches go out and build the community programs for which 5 million was set aside in this budget to support them in their community outreach, unless they themselves go out as humans and do the work, all of the measures here will be for naught. What I am saying, sir, as I close, is that a budget is more than numbers. The budget is really about people choosing to participate and ensure that this country and they individually can actually participate and benefit from the measures within this budget. Sir, I intend over the next several months to be working within the constituency of St. Philip West to ensure that our people have opportunities to learn more, to become educated, become aware, and to truly become active participants in the work of this Barbados and to benefit from all of these measures within the budget. Sir, with that, I thank you.
Honourable member for St. John.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. I rise in full support of this budget for 2026-2027. Mr. Speaker, yesterday I felt as if the Honourable Member for Christchurch East Central was speaking to me. I've coached basketball for more than 20 years, and similar to the officer here, one of the things that we always tell our team, regardless of the situation, to finish strong. And yesterday, he finished with strength that I think only he could have conjured up on the day. And the reason why I posit that I identify with what he was saying, because he mentioned the process of crawling before you run, and I am familiar with that. Because, Mr. Speaker, I'm the father of 3 children, and I crawled for many years to ensure that my children were put in a position that they can run. And I'm certain that the good people of St. John are placed in a position where if they're stagnant, they can move, and those so able to run will be able to finish the race at some point in time. And I want to say here thanks to the constituents of St. John who felt it was necessary for me to be a part of the process of being in this August chamber to represent them and to represent the needs that they have in the constituency of St. John. And one of the reasons, Mr. Speaker, that I came to Parliament was exactly for that reason. The fact that I was able to allow my children to run, I believe the onus is on me now to make sure that individuals within the constituency of St. John can run and run at a pace that they will be satisfied they can complete the race and do podium in their own right. The budget yesterday, Mr. Speaker, provided an opportunity for my constituents to grow, for my constituents to reap some of the benefits of a government that is caring. The cost of living and energy relief that came yesterday in the budget will benefit, I believe, every single household within the constituency of St. John, and I give thanks for that. Members before me, and I don't think I need at this time to repeat every single aspect of the budget in relation to how it reads down to the constituency of St. John. I heard the Honourable Member for St. Lucie speaking about how it will benefit his constituents, and I'm sure that mine will benefit as well. And I'm humble, absolutely humble, to be a part of a process. You know, I have a daughter who said to me, "Dad, you're not a politician, you're a man in politics." And I embrace that because, Mr. Speaker, at my age and at this time in my life, I don't fake moves. What you see is what you get. And it is a situation where, even though it is difficult to say this, when I look around at my colleagues, I believe that I am the least among the apostles. But I press on. Mr. Speaker, to be a member of this team, and again, I want to stress the gratitude that I have for the people of St. John and my team who assisted in relation to us being involved in the elections. And I also want to use this forum to express gratitude to the Prime Minister for her role in the process. Because if ever there was an oxymoron, then this would be it. Because the Prime Minister came to St. John and it was whispering thunder. Mr. Speaker, I am humble as well to be functioning in the capacity of Minister of Sports. And this government would have done things to impact the lives of so many young people in this country through the project that I call sports. And I want to take this opportunity to speak a little bit about the ministry that I'm responsible for and some of the things that we're doing to move the needle forward as it relates to the sports project on Island. And I heard the Honourable Member for St. Lucie, and I want to address his concerns in relation to the placing of the 400-meter track in the north of the island. And one of the things that we looked at in terms of placing that particular facility would have been the accessibility to those persons who would use the facility. And to go extreme north, it was not really feasible. So we looked at a location that is on the coast that would provide maximum use of the facility at that particular location that is being proposed in Trent. And the other one is coming to St. Philip at Bushy Park. And Mr. Speaker, I was really pleased to hear the Honourable Member for Christchurch East mention that funds will be allocated in this financial year, East Central, sorry, to facilitate those additional 2 Olympic-sized swimming pools. And part of the process that even as I'm standing here today, we have one team of swimmers from a school, college in Canada that is on island looking to prepare for their upcoming season. And I had reason again to go back to the Ministry of Education, and I want to thank the Ministry of Education for allowing them the opportunity to train at the facility where our Carifta team is training. But you can understand that with 2 additional Olympic-sized pools on island, there's an opportunity for us to be able to outsource those facilities to make money for the country at this time of the year when we have teams coming to the island. In addition to that, it would provide, as I explained before, an opportunity to grow the sports of swimming on island by providing those additional locations for our young people in the northern side and the eastern side, because I can see where youngsters from the constituency of St. John can traverse the Bushy Park to be able to practice their craft of swimming, or if they need to engage in water polo, it provides another opportunity for them to be there. What else is happening in sports, Mr. Speaker? We have a situation where, as a direct result of this government being proactive, we have been given a budget that, in my estimation, was unmatched ever as it relates to sports on this island. And we have done the work in terms of bringing the infrastructure up to scratch. I would have visited the Wildy Gymnasium to have a first-hand look at the glass court that we are putting at that location, that will again redound to the benefit of not only players who would participate in their particular discipline, but provide an opportunity to really and truly engage in sports tourism, where now we can see invitational tournaments coming to the island and having a facility that is world-class to highlight and to showcase what Barbados is offering in terms of sports. Mr. Speaker, last year we staged a block T20 competition. A block T20 competition that, and I think I would have mentioned here in Parliament that even from the jump, those persons who were involved in the process, it was absolutely clear that that competition was successful even before it reached the finals of that tournament. Because there were 2 young men who their fathers were incarcerated for X amount of years, and these 2 young men were drifting in a direction that we would not want to see them go as a government, as a father, as any caring individual. And the fact that they were able to get involved in the block T20 competition, it brought a level of structure to their life that was not known prior to them being involved in any type of organized sports. And that, for me, was a win at that point in time. We have badminton and squash that, in a sense, is squatting, if I may use that word, at different locations in order to play their particular discipline. And government felt it was necessary to construct a structure that would now be a home for badminton and squash at the Wilde Complex. And I'm sure that those individuals who are involved in that discipline are extremely pleased in relation to being able now to have a facility that they can call their very own. Beach volleyball is something that is an international sport. It is played at the Olympics. There's a lot of money that is involved for those persons who engage in beach volleyball. And government saw it fit in terms of rolling out the projects at Wilde to construct such a court at that particular location to make sure that we can now have beach volleyball tournaments in a way that will not impact those individuals who would have gone to the beach in order to have a sea bath or just to relax. We have constructed that particular facility. The 400 track, Mr. Speaker, at Wilde is, I would say at this point in time, about 90% completed, because we have laid the track. We're now looking to do the infill. The final phase of that particular project will entail the construction of a facility that will allow those teams who want to change to be able to do that and to have the normal toilet facilities at the location. Mr. Speaker, the National Sports Council, as we know it, is in transition, and we're just going through the final stages of moving that to Sports Barbados to make that particular organization now fit for sports on island, because we have identified that there's some gaps that we need to fill, and the only way that we can do that is to ensure that we repurpose the National Sports Council and to bring a new entity that is required if we're going to compete with the international countries and the international athletes. We need to have a facility that is fit for purpose, and I dare say that we're at an advanced stage in making sure that the National Sports Council is repurposed and Sports Barbados would be the new entity that is coming on the shores of this island. The National Sports Policy, I brought it here, Mr. Speaker, and we have started the process of engaging now in the national sports, the strategy to roll out the policy. And we believe that with technology and all of the things that are happening, that we should have a sports policy that is, again, I use those words, fit for purpose as it relates to what we're trying to do with sports on island. Part of the process this year, I would have mentioned here in the well, is we need to look to see now how we can monetize sports. How best can we make Barbados benefit from the billion-dollar industry that is attached to sports? And these are the things that we are looking to do as a government, as a ministry, to benefit our athletes. From right here in this chamber, the minister responsible for MIS would have indicated that he would have triggered an idea some time ago with the previous sports minister, one of my predecessors, about esports. And we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of youngsters on island who, in their downtime, they engage in all of these e-games, esports, and we now need to bring this thing in a formal way, in a structured way, that we can have that particular project. The Honourable member is saying he's involved in the process as well. So it is not only youngsters on island that are involved, but seniors too are involved in sports. So how then, I'm sorry, I take that back, sir. I take that back. But we need now to make sure that we can have our youngsters involved in that. The wider we go in relation to sports, I think it is best for us, because we open opportunities for our young people to see what it is out there that they're interested in. I believe that a message must go to parents, Mr. Speaker, that this is not just a fun thing, but it is a way of life. I mean, we have the opportunity to send individuals overseas on scholarships. We have an opportunity that money, real money, is made in terms of this, and we all of us know what it is when one of our athletes or team is on podium, the pride that is attached to that particular athlete and to the country as a whole, you just feel that there's a lightness on island. For example, when Sade Williams would have won at the Commonwealth, there was a total different situation on island because there was a level of pleasure. I will not say that this is the situation in relation to our current West Indies team, but we're getting back there. Speaking of cricket, without divulging exactly what is happening in relation to that, I had a conversation with the owners of the CPL team here, the Barbados CPL team. And there's an initiative that, if it materializes, will be a first in the Caribbean that is being triggered here on island. But I don't want to say anything more about that because I don't want to preface what it is that they will be saying when they reach there. Mr. Speaker, I mentioned just now the scholarships, and this government would have felt it necessary to provide scholarships for our young student athletes who are looking to go to the United States. And by that I mean, some time ago there were two individuals who were charging between $450 and $600 to prep our student athletes to do the SAT programs in the States. And I know for sure that their parents, single mothers in the constituency of St. John, who would have been unable to pay $450, far less than $600, to prepare their young athletes to be able to source that training. And government, through my ministry, decided that we were going to take the responsibility of providing that service to all of those young people on island who are interested in becoming an athlete in the States. And today we would have graduated, so to speak, close to 100 individuals who sourced that training at the ministry to provide an opportunity for those youngsters then to be able to do what they're supposed to do in terms of getting their education and at the same time honing their skills in their respective sports, whether it be track, whether it be basketball. The opportunity was there for them. Beach football, another area that was lacking on island, and government felt it was necessary through my ministry to give new impetus to rebirth beach football. And as mentioned, the Prime Minister's Cup that is being facilitated through my ministry as well was running parallel to the beach football competition that we staged at Bronx Beach and down at the beach down Brandon's. And 350 youngsters turned up for a competition that was coming back for the first time on island. And we were able to successfully stage that tournament. And I would have asked the organizer from my ministry to look to see how we can do talent identification from that particular competition to ensure then that we can hold a grouping of youngsters together to form our national team that we can then participate either in regional competitions or international competitions. And the skill sets, Mr. Speaker, coming from the competition was one that I was absolutely blown away with, because I believe that all of our young people must be given an opportunity to move from being diamonds in the rough to shining, absolutely shining stars. Mr. Speaker, there's a lot to be done still in sports. Our national stadium is moving at a pace, and I would have said that, you know, it was a cry across this country as to when the national stadium would have been started, to the extent where I too feel that I had to ask the Minister of Sports when it was going to be started. But now we have structure up, and last report, like I said, that I got, we were ahead of the curve as far as that is concerned. This week, Mr. Speaker, yesterday, as a matter of fact, I held a meeting with BASA to see how we can trigger a speedy solution to the issues that we're having at the aquatic center. And I'm satisfied coming out of the meeting with BASA and the BOA that we will be in a position soon to have that location up and running again. On Saturday, Mr. Speaker, I held another meeting with basketball, netball, and volleyball in relation to the scheduling of the floor space at the old netball stadium that will now become that facility for those three disciplines. And I walked away being satisfied that we would have found a solution in terms of how we're able to stage the basketball, volleyball, and netball without them having a collision in terms of the usage of that particular location. So, Mr. Speaker, again, if I am to return to the budget, this is a budget that I think maybe one of the reasons or part of the reasons why I got involved in elective government, to be a part of a government that is proactive, a government that is progressive, a leader who is doing what is supposed to be done to ensure that all of us are able to take country forward. And by country, my constituency of St. John is included in that. And I would have seen the benefits, and I can surely see the additional benefits that will be derived from this budget for those individuals within the constituency. Unfortunately, there's some that will exclude me because I don't think the benefits of having twins and triplets will be part of my remit anymore. You know, I'm just saying. I've already purchased that dash cam, so that is now to be installed, so it would not benefit me. But I'm sure that individuals from within the constituency hearing these initiatives within this budget, it will only benefit them in the long run and by extension the country as a whole. So, Mr. Speaker, with those few words, I totally endorse this budget, and I want to let the country know, to rest assured that the sports project in this particular country is alive and well. I thank you.
Honourable Leader, Government Business.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to move this suspension until 10 minutes to 12.
The question is that this Honourable Chairman be suspended until 11:50 a.m. All those honourable members in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. The meeting, yes, have it. This Honourable Chairman stands suspended until 11:50 a.m.